Peanut butter sits in nearly every pantry, yet few people read its full label. One jar separates naturally, the other never does. That difference is not an accident. Many commercial peanut butters add ingredients well beyond peanuts and a little salt. This is Grocery Science. Today, we look at what is really inside peanut butter and nut butters. Hydrogenated vegetable oil is added specifically to keep peanut butter from separating. One jar lists a single ingredient. Another can list 10 or more. By the end of this video, you will read that peanut butter label very differently. Peanut butter can be a nutritious staple. It depends heavily on the formula chosen. US regulations require products labeled peanut butter to contain at least 90% peanuts. The remaining 10% may legally include salt, sweeteners, and hydrogenated vegetable oils. Products with additional ingredients like flavorings must instead be labeled a peanut butter spread. A true single-ingredient peanut butter simply lists roasted, ground peanuts, and nothing else. Without added stabilizers, natural peanut oil rises and separates from the ground peanut solids. Stirring the oil back in restores a smooth, spreadable texture before each use. Hydrogenation is a chemical process that converts liquid oil into a more solid, stable fat. Partially hydrogenated oils can contain trans fat, a type of fat linked to heart disease. Labels can legally state 0 grams trans fat if a serving contains under half a gram. Eating several servings across the day can mean consuming more trans fat than the label implies. Most major peanut butter brands now use fully hydrogenated oil, which does not contain trans fat. Checking whether an oil is fully or partially hydrogenated helps clarify actual trans fat risk. Sugar is commonly added to commercial peanut butter to balance the natural bitterness of peanuts. Standard peanut butter typically contains 2 to 4 grams of added sugar per serving. Over a year of daily use, that adds up to roughly a kilogram of added sugar. Natural peanut butter, containing only peanuts and salt, typically has 0 grams of added sugar. Peanuts naturally contain a small amount of sugar, even without any added sweetener. Sweeteners vary by brand, including cane sugar, honey, and occasionally molasses in the formula.
When sugar appears within the first 5 ingredients, added sugar content tends to be higher.
Sweetened peanut butter often appeals more to children accustomed to a sweeter flavor profile. Taste preference for sweetness can gradually adjust when switching to less sweetened alternatives. Peanut butter alone rarely drives excess sugar intake, but it does contribute to the daily total. Flavored varieties, like chocolate or honey roasted, generally carry meaningfully more added sugar. Chocolate-flavored peanut spreads can approach the sugar content of a dessert topping. Checking the added sugars line specifically helps compare brands beyond their marketing claims. Comparing several brands side by side often reveals meaningful, avoidable sugar differences. Ingredient reading, not packaging color or imagery, remains the most reliable way to check sugar. Salt is added to most commercial peanut butter for flavor, even in unsweetened versions. Sodium content can range widely, from nearly 0 to over 150 milligrams per serving. Sodium from peanut butter adds to overall daily intake, alongside many other packaged foods. Palm oil is another common additive used to prevent natural oil separation in peanut butter. Palm oil is not hydrogenated, but it is naturally higher in saturated fat content. Palm oil production has also raised environmental concerns related to tropical deforestation. Some brands now use certified sustainable palm oil to address these environmental concerns. Peanut butter containing palm oil generally has slightly more saturated fat than natural versions. Peanuts themselves are naturally rich in unsaturated fats associated with cardiovascular health benefits. Large studies associate regular nut consumption, including peanuts, with lower cardiovascular disease risk. Added oils and sugar in some products can partially offset these naturally occurring benefits. Comparing plain and heavily processed versions side by side reveals a clear nutritional gap.
Peanut butter provides meaningful protein, fiber, vitamin E, and magnesium in every serving.
A standard peanut butter serving is about 2 tablespoons, smaller than many people assume. Larger portions on toast or in sandwiches often exceed the labeled serving size significantly. Alternative nut and seed butters have become widely available beyond traditional peanut butter. Almond butter and peanut butter have broadly similar fat and protein profiles per serving. Almond butter generally contains somewhat more vitamin E and calcium than peanut butter. Sunflower seed butter offers a nut-free alternative for households managing tree nut or peanut allergies. Peanuts are legumes, not tree nuts, though they can trigger separate or overlapping allergic reactions. Alternative nut butters can carry just as much added sugar as standard peanut butter. Alternative nut butters are generally more expensive per serving than conventional peanut butter. Comparing ingredient list length across nut butter types reveals similar processing patterns overall. Cashew butter naturally contains somewhat more carbohydrate than peanut or almond butter varieties. Most nut and seed butters can fit a balanced diet, provided portions remain moderate. Oil separation tendencies vary by nut type, based on each nut's natural fat structure. Many alternative nut butters offer both a stabilized and a natural, separating version. The same label checks that apply to peanut butter apply equally to alternative nut butters. Ingredient quality generally matters more for nutrition than which specific nut or seed is used. Understanding these patterns lets you choose any nut or seed butter intentionally. The word natural on peanut butter packaging currently has no fixed legal definition. There is no official regulatory standard defining what counts as natural peanut butter. Health-sounding icons and colors do not always reflect the actual ingredient list underneath. Serving size print is often smaller than the health claims printed on the front. Flipping the jar over remains the most reliable way to verify any front label claim. High protein claims can still describe a product with fairly ordinary protein per serving. The first 3 ingredients by weight reveal the most about a jar's actual composition. Comparing several brands side by side often reveals surprisingly large added sugar differences. Some products labeled all natural still contain added palm oil and added sugar. Marketing language strongly shapes how healthy a jar appears, independent of its actual ingredients. Check ingredient count, check added sugar, and check whether the oil is hydrogenated. Choosing a 1 or 2 ingredient jar avoids most added sugar and stabilizing oils. Storing natural peanut butter upside down makes the oil easier to stir back in later. Pairing peanut butter with fruit and whole grains creates a more balanced, filling snack. Measuring a standard serving helps keep portions consistent with the nutrition label. Natural peanut butter is often only marginally more expensive than heavily processed versions. A few extra seconds reading the label can meaningfully change what ends up on the plate. Knowledge about ingredients is not about fear. It is about informed, confident choices. We started this video with a simple spoonful of peanut butter. Behind every jar of peanut butter is a formulation balancing texture, shelf life, and cost. The evidence shows ingredient count and added sugar are the two details most worth checking. That understanding gives you a real choice rather than just a marketed one. At Grocery Science, we examine food through evidence, not to generate fear. Coming up, what is really inside frozen-ready meals and how to read those labels. Thank you for watching Grocery Science. Stay curious. Stay informed.